Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Good Guy Sports. And yes, this is the 2026 Good Guy Sports Super Bowl special. It happens every year. It's the big game, the one we're waiting around for. And boy, do we have a great matchup to preview here on Good Guy Sports. Joined by myself, Blake Gerke, Jackson Gerke, Mike Roby, B.O. Lineberger, and a special guest incoming as well. Do stay tuned for that. But, gentlemen, we have a big game on Sunday to preview here, don't we? This is a great matchup between two teams that maybe not a lot of us thought would be here at this point of the season as we in come week one, was it? And of course, I'm talking about the Seattle Seahawks taking on the New England Patriots Sunday, 6:30 p.m. on NBC/Peacock. This is a big matchup. Obviously, we've been talking about the Seahawks for a while here, haven't we? And that dominant defense that they put together in the NFC, Sam Darnold, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Kenneth Walker, leading them to that number one seed in the NFC. And obviously, the number one seed paid off with them punching their ticket to the big game. And then as well on the New England side, the upstart New England Patriots, first year head coach Mike Vrabel, second year quarterback Drake May, really making the most of that light schedule and making their way through the postseason. Credit where credit's due. Don't want to get the Patriots fans on the wrong side of me saying they have a light path to Super Bowl, but they're 14-3 for a reason, aren't they? So this is a really exciting matchup. And boy, Jackson, I could just say I'm really excited for this game. I think we're in store for a great one. We got a great venue out there in Santa Clara, California. A big occasion here for Super Bowl 60, man. How excited are you, Jackson?
Oh, I'm very excited, Blake. And you know what's more exciting is that you have two teams squaring off that missed the playoffs last season in a 4-3 record that we're talking about, where you have Sam Darnold, who in his previous career, um, he's most of his career he played with the Minnesota Vikings, and Justin Jefferson was his target wide receiver, his weapon during his time there with the Vikings. He played for Blake Lumberger's Carolina Panthers. No. Different quarterback, but he played for the Jets.
Oh, Donald did, yeah. Donald
Yeah,
did have a cup of coffee with the
and
Panthers. Yeah, you're
yeah,
spot on. Yeah,
and what's interesting about that is
he was their backup.
yes, is when he was the Jets. Is that when anytime he faced the Patriots, he's like 0-4 all time. And if you go back to that game in 2019, where he faced the Patriots, and it was at home at MetLife, and he was facing ghosts that night, and that was really the biggest things that I find very interesting heading in this matchup is Sam Darnold 0-4 all time against the against those darn Patriots, and something tells me that anytime that we can tell you that the Patriots will be wearing an all white uniform and Seahawks are wearing an all navy with the America 250 logo on the on the left side of their jersey, that that something tells me that anytime the Seahawks have wear an all navy uniform, they all lost. Um, they lost against the Steelers back in the 2005 season, and then against the Patriots in that Malcolm Butler interception game back in Super Bowl 49. So something tells me that the Patriots wearing an all white uniform, something tells me that they might have a better chance to win the game. But I'm not getting ahead of
I don't know. I
myself.
think you're really
But
clutching at straws there, banking on uniforms. I mean,
but
what about the X's and O's
all I
here?
know is that
I don't make bets off of uniforms. I make
well
bets off
well
of
well
defense and offense, man.
well no well of course not. But all I'm saying but the only thing that I find that people should really know about is Tom Brady did not wear an all white Patriots uniform
Tom
during
Brady.
his
What does he
football
have to do with this game? I don't care about Tom Brady. Tom.
to tenure, but during his tenure with the team. But that just gives you something to notice. But anyway, so as for the game itself, so you got Sam Darnold, you have two rookie quarterbacks going at it. This is their probably going to be their biggest moment of their life.
Two
Um,
quarterbacks making their first appearance in the Super Bowl is what you
yes,
mean, right?
yes, and they have one and they do respect one another.
That's good.
Until they go yeah, exactly, until they go to battle on Sunday. So so to me, I'm saying this is a very so to me, I think this game is going to be ending in a one score game like it does in those last in the matchups. Two teams are 14-3 this season, and they're evenly matched. And
Well, here, Jackson, let me save your pick for a little bit. But the question I want to ask you is, what does each team, Seattle and New England, have to focus on if they want to win the game? Let's start with Seattle. What does Seattle have to do? Pick one thing they have to do to win the game. Same thing for New England. That's my question to you.
first, okay, so first Seattle is their defense. Is that meaning that if you can scoop and score and just make a single play, whether it's on third or second down
Causing turnovers.
or yes, causing a lot of turnovers, maybe getting a fumble or two, or possibly in a scoop and score situation. And if they and if they, and if they limit the turnovers and score a lot of points, then Seahawks have a chance. For the Patriots, Drake May has to use his legs and run the ball more. Probably it's going to be the biggest game of his life, and then I think what Drake May has to do is try to avoid Demetrius Lawrence and 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 that Seattle defense and Demetrius Lawrence and Leonard Williams and those guys, and just try to avoid this Seahawks pass rush defense. And I think the Patriots and Drake May, if it all goes well, then I think they'll have a chance to win that game. Is how I see it. But the bottom line is that the Seahawks have a chance to win this game. They got to do it on the defensive side of the ball. Try to limit a bunch of the opposing teams a bunch of turnovers, and just try to score a lot of points as much as you can.
Then let me
Now
jump to before you do that, Jackson. Let me jump to Mike. Jackson just gave you his keys to the game for both sides of the ball. I mean, both sides of the sideline there, New England and Seattle. What do you think is going to be the key for each of those teams come Sunday, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a great game. You're talking about the two teams, and team is the right word for both of these squads. There's no one that's a household name on either of the squad, and they're all playing as a team. And so hats off to both squads. I think the key is going to be the game's going to be one at the line of scrimmage, and that's going to be key. Uh, Seattle needs to put pressure on May, the second youngest quarterback to start in the Super Bowl.
Who's the first out of curiosity?
Uh, Dan Marino.
No kidding. Wow,
hmm,
84, huh? 84,
Yep,
85. Yeah, yeah.
yep. Dan Marino when he lost to my Washington football team.
Bring back those days, huh?
Well, I got to. It's the only time of year I could do that. But it's going to be one of the line of scrimmage. I mean, you look at the first two games, the two playoff games or the last two playoff games for the Patriots. They've given up a total of 10 sacks, and Seahawks have given up 5 sacks. But the Seahawks have not turned the ball over. Hope I didn't jinx them.
I mean, you have to say that's one of the things that Darnold was maybe, criticized for in the regular season, but
Hmm.
in terms of his turnovers, interceptions, but you have to say he's been pretty clean with the ball this postseason, hasn't he?
Yep, he has. And the Patriots turned the ball over 5 times. So if the Seahawks can keep Milton Williams off of Darnold's back, they're gonna, that's really what comes comes down to both teams. Who wins the battle at the line of scrimmage?
For sure, as it often does in these big football games, doesn't it? And yeah, I think it's a good point. I think you have to say Drake May has been exceptional this season, MVP candidate, gotten this team to where it has to this point, and I think the Patriots have a strong defense, and their offense is really dictated by how Drake May is
Hmm.
performing. So it's an obvious thing to say, but the Patriots are going to be very reliant on Drake May to make some
Hmm.
plays, extend some plays, all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
I mean, the Patriots were 4-14 in third down conversions against the Broncos, and they were 3-14 third down conversions against the Texans. Both Broncos and Texans have got outstanding defenses, but I don't think those defenses are as strong as Seattle's. So they're going up against an even better defense than they've played so far.
I think so. Yeah, I think Houston had a strong defense, at Denver as well, and obviously the conditions in that Denver game were a massive factor. The conditions won't be a factor in this one, but I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that Drake May and the Patriots will be coming up against the best defense they face all season, like you said, Mike. So I think
Hmm.
that's spot on there, and it's going to be, and I'm sure they'll have to make adjustments and kind of play to see what the Seahawks are giving them early and kind of go from there. But Beal Lumberg, let me jump.
Um,
Let me jump. Oh, sorry, Jackson, go ahead.
sorry, I just want to interrupt that the Seahawks have an injury report questionable in yesterday's practice for the Seahawks. Nick Almira, the former South Carolina Gamecock, their center, had a torn Achilles injury in practice. He's questionable. He will play in the game on Sunday, but
Yeah,
will
he'll be
not be
fine.
remaining
Yeah,
100%. So that's all. So that's the injury report that I want to that I want to give to you.
fair enough. Fair enough. Beal Lumberger, let me jump to you here, man. How do you? First of all, are you excited for this game? Super Bowl every year is a big game. How pumped are you for this game, and what do you think are going to be kind of the keys for each team here, man? Think you're on. There you go. You're on mute.
We
There you go.
got, man, I love it. This is about as East Coast and West Coast as you can get, right? We got New England and we got Seattle, Washington. I'm super pumped. One, Drake May, as we talked about before, Myers Park High School, Charlotte native, dated the same
Absolutely.
girl
Shout
since
out
middle
Charlotte.
school. Awesome. Carolina ties with his brothers, Chapel Hill. I think he played for Chapel Hill as well.
You did, yeah.
We got a basketball slash football family. But Jackson, we have Marcus Burley, who told his teammates when Marshawn Lynch was going to get the last handoff, go in the end zone against the Patriots last time, before the pick was thrown, they said it's time to celebrate, boys. We got the Super Bowl, and famously threw the pick to the Patriots. Patriots win. It's not going to happen again, guys. Seattle is going to be victorious. They say lightning never strikes twice in the same place. Seattle's going to. Oh, are we? Maybe we're not supposed to make. Are we supposed to make picks yet, Blake?
You can go ahead. You can start us off with your predictions. I think you've obviously
Based
got
off
some.
that, you guys have no clue which way I'm going to go on this, but I'll save the pick for later. But hey, Jackson, they say revenge is best served cold,
Hmm.
and it, let's go, Seahawks.
Yeah, I mean certainly Jackson. That's a big talking point, right? We have the history of that game about a decade ago at this point, wasn't it?
Yes.
Um, and
And,
obviously we don't. The teams are different, the coaches are different, but there is a bit of history there between these teams come February, isn't there?
well, Mr. Roby will appreciate that. You had the two Robies going at it on on both sides of the ball, and that also to note, the last time these games played, I was in college where Malcolm Butler made the last play of the game and sealed the game for the Patriots, and that was a and that day, and let me tell you, that was a total absolute heartbreak for our Seahawks fans that day. And I was watching it with one of my with one of my with one of my with one of my roommates and in one of the RM's dorm in college at the time. And let me tell you, I I was definitely a football fan, like all of us Americans and people around the world watching on the teams as they always do every year. But the Seahawks were definitely one of my favorite teams back then too. But let me tell you, that was heartbreaking to watch for us all Seahawks fans that day.
Sure, there's gonna be a bit of revenge factor there for sure from the Seahawks. I guess as well we should mention both these teams have been in a lot of Super Bowls recently as well. Obviously, Seattle making it back to back there, and then obviously we know the Patriots' history with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. I don't know, Mike. Do you think that the history of these teams playing in the Super Bowl or the history of the Patriots being in this spot for a while is different, is going to be impactful for them, or is it a case of where this Patriots team, coaching staff, players is totally different from the ones that came before? So it's really just the fans that are
Yeah.
used to being in this position, right?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to make any difference. I think that's immaterial. You also have to remember the Patriots have lost 5 Super Bowls.
Right, right. As our Patriots fan joins, we remind them of
How
the
are we,
losses, but
fellas?
we got our special guest, Patriot Boston fan, David Nasora. Obviously, we got some Seahawks representation here. Jackson's decked out in his jersey. I'm wearing a hat, but we got to get the Boston representation here. David Nasora, man, good to have you. How are you?
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. I'm doing great. Go
Absolutely.
Pats.
Go Pats. Absolutely. Absolutely. So we've just been breaking down some of the keys to the game on both sides, talking about Drake May, the Seattle defense, kind of how we think both teams will set about the game. I'll start with you as the Boston fan, though, David. Obviously, you've seen this
hmm
team from the beginning of the season to the end. Obviously, first year coach Mike Vrabel, second year quarterback Drake May. You must be very pleasantly surprised with how far they've gotten this year, given your expectations maybe come like September, right?
Oh, I mean, I'm really not surprised at all. I mean, I was saying this
Oh
from
wow.
the beginning that we would be in the playoffs. Not surprised we're in the Super Bowl. Um, I mean, we've seen this in the league again and again. You look at the Lions. It's not a crazy thing for a team to turn around in a season. Um, I think the Vrabel thing, you know, it was pretty obvious he was going to do well. He had so much experience in the league. Um, and I was thinking, Jack, I think they might have to rename the Super Bowl trophy one day to the Vrabel uh, trophy instead of the Lombardi, because I think Vrabel will go down as one of the greatest coaches.
I mean, Jackson, yeah, it's definitely been impressive for Vrabel's the impact he's had, right? Because I mean, this team was not up to much last year, and then all of a sudden Mike Vrabel comes in, and then boom, you got a Super Bowl berth. I mean, that's pretty impressive, right, Jack?
Absolutely. If you really think about it, Mike Vrabel, he is a great man and he loves his players and one of the
hmm
great and by far
Players coach.
one of the players coach who's won a Super Bowl as a player and 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 he gets to and think about it. This team was in a disaster last season and I think and and how New England even got there is because of how soft their schedule was this season is part
Oh
of the reason
boy.
why they're in is part of the reason why they're in this game and to me it's no accident. I think you think about it, I think Drake May stayed healthy and Blake and David, I'm sure you heard about about a few seconds ago that
Jackson, tell us how you really feel about the
well
schedule.
I well Blake, I mean,
It doesn't hurt.
I mean, it's no accident. I mean,
He's
I don't
just
think,
stating the facts.
I mean, I don't,
Yeah.
Hey, you can
it
only
doesn't
play
really
the
affect
teams that they
anything.
put in front of you, Jack.
Well,
True.
yeah, David. I don't think it affects anybody,
Right?
yeah, I do think it makes the point on how I think they played and how they even how I mean how they even stayed. They pretty much stayed healthy the entire season, and they just found ways to win on the road in the postseason
Yeah.
during the playoffs.
I think
And
undefeated all season on the road. Is that right? I think the Patriots.
yes,
Yeah.
they are.
Yes.
They are.
Yep.
And so I
Perfect on the
think
road.
Yeah.
yes, and so I think to me there are a lot of storylines in this game. I mean, Blake Lumberger has mentioned it to me earlier, and he mentioned that that Drake May actually actually went to high school because he lived in the Charlotte area. He went to a place called Myers Park down in the Charlotte area and went to college at
Mm.
UNC. And
hmm
you think about it, you think about it from how he got this far. A Huntersville, North Carolina kid. Shout out to all the people out in the CLT Charlottetown where Blake Lumberg is. But
hmm
if you get the idea that how the Patriots even got it this far is that really it just comes down into belief and how this organization and the team itself just knew they were onto something. And I think that how they made it this far is what they have accomplished is really to me, I think, one of the greatest turnaround stories in all of, not just the NFL, but in all of sports, pro sports, in my opinion. And and bringing back the Patriot way to what it once was before. And Drake
Mm-hmm.
May and his incredible story with Stephon Diggs, who Uncle Mike should really know about him because he went to college played for the Maryland Terrapins, and shout out to the Dirty Trips out there for Uncle Mike Roby and Christian Gonzalez, who is by far one of the greatest leaders on and off
Great
the
player, yeah.
field. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
the nicest player you'll ever meet, and Austin Hooper and Drake May and Trayvon Harrison, those guys, along with Cooper Kupp, who, by the way, has won a Super Bowl before with the Rams, uh, 5 years ago, and has the chance to do it with Seahawks on Sunday. But back to where I'm. But it's interesting because
Or Jackson, I want to ask David a quick question here though on his Patriots. We talked about Drake May. Just firstly, your thoughts on May's season so far. Do you think he should be NFL MVP in his second year? And like, how impressed, surprised are you, or did you expect him to take this big of a leap in his second year for Drake May specifically?
Yeah, no, I will say I was definitely surprised at how well he played this year. To me, he's the MVP. I mean, I think the definition of the MVP obviously is like the most valuable player, but it's to that specific team. And I mean, it's, I have no problem saying if we don't have Drake May this year, we're definitely not getting this far. So
Right.
I think if you combine it with how good he did, based on the overall league, and then also just how important he was to his team. I mean, to me, he's the MVP.
Yeah. Hey, will Robert Spillane play Sunday with that
Ooh,
bad ankle?
we'll have to
That's
check
a good
the.
question. Yeah, I don't know. I also saw an Instagram video today. There was a Seahawks defensive player that was walking with a limp. I don't know if you guys saw that. I don't know
Yeah,
if that's real or
their
not,
rookie
but
safety.
yes.
I think he's a go, but he's a bit banged up.
Yeah,
I
and then
think
I don't
same
know
for
if you
Spillane.
guys
I think, yeah.
I don't know if you guys talked about Drake May at all, but we're kind of freaking out with the shoulder thing.
That's right. Yeah, he's a bit banged up too, and obviously Darnold
Yeah.
had the oblique injury, and now I guess May has a shoulder little flare up, right?
Yeah, and I don't know how long he's been, exactly how long that he's had that, but I feel like it could have had an effect in the last game as well.
Yeah. He'll
Because
be fine
I know he
Monday.
was really struggling. I think it was mostly the weather, but I wouldn't be
Right.
surprised if he's been hurt for a minute.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think that's obviously going to be a big factor. And I think as well for from the Patriots, I think you'd say their defense has been strong, maybe underrated throughout the season. And the offense really, goes as Drake May goes. It's obvious to say that for the quarterback, but he's really been the leader and like carried that team.
Mm-hmm.
He's been great on those picking up third down with his legs as well and stuff like that. So I guess David, I'll ask you this from a Patriots fan perspective.
Yeah, go ahead.
Best case scenario, the Patriots are winning the Super Bowl. Do you think it's going to be because Drake May is the hero and he's scampering for third downs and he's airing it out, or is it going to be more of a defensive masterclass and it's going to be more of like a Mike Vrabel defensive low scoring game? What do you think is the best scenario for the Patriots?
Well, I mean, the best scenario is all those things. If we play great defense and we have, we just run up the score. But to me, when I think about Super Bowls, especially Patriots Super Bowls, it's always unlikely heroes that will step up. So for me, I'm looking at a guy like maybe like Ramondre Stevenson, to go off or something. I think Diggs could have a big game. That wouldn't be a surprise, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think someone will step up for sure, and it will probably be in a way that you don't expect. Like I could definitely see the running game going off. There's all this focus on Drake May, um, but yeah, I could see maybe Travion Henderson breaking a big run or something like that. So um, yeah, I think expect the unexpected is what I've always learned with the Patriots Super Bowls.
Well, there you go. I mean, the fan base has been there and done that, Jackson, haven't they? So,
they sure have. They sure have, Blake. And another thing that I should throw out to you before we move on is that what people should really know is, well, well, my parents were actually at the last Super Bowl when it was played out in Santa Clara, which, by the way, is the more spread out Super Bowl, which doesn't make fans or the teams convenient, depending on how far spread it is for any Super Bowl host city. And and I'm speaking for my mom and dad because they've been there before. They know what it's like when they were there for Super Bowl 50 in that matchup. And what I can tell you, David, is that Drake May, you would love the story that he was actually at Super Bowl 50 as a fan when the Carolina Panthers were in that Super Bowl that year, and he saw some greatness and saw Peyton Manning and Von Miller and the Broncos beat him in a low scoring game in that game, and that was really what stood out to me. But David, you actually have a story to share with us about you and your friends actually bumped and saw and and saw what looked to be a football quarterback or a football player when you're on vacation with your buddies out on in Mexico, and if so, tell me if that's true, and your thoughts when when one of your buddies saw Drake May on this island on vacation in Mexico.
Yeah, I completely forgot about that. Right. I'm trying to remember now which friend of mine told me that. It was very recent though. Yeah, one of my friends, their friends went on vacation and they were vacationing with Drake May and his wife, and they had no idea who they were, and they were just hanging out all week.
I think
Now
that,
you, now
yeah,
you got me racking my brain here, Jack. Because yeah, you're right.
that probably goes to speak to Drake May being a very down to earth guy, not
Oh
too
yeah,
he's the kind of guy you see at a beach in Mexico. He'll have a Corona with you. He'll have a conversation, and you wouldn't even know he's a starting quarterback, right? From what I've seen from him interviewing, like
yeah,
I saw him
extremely
in
humble. Yeah.
for sure. And I think you can tell that the team has really bought into him as their leader, right? And I think that
Oh yeah.
is no coincidence they've gotten to this point with him kind of at the helm of that team for sure. So yeah, I think listen, Drake May, only positive things to say about somebody leading their team to Super Bowl in the second year. It's really unexpected. Most people we're used to Mahomes, Allen,
Yeah.
and Lamar Jackson in the AFC. I mean, we didn't really we thought maybe if somebody from the AFC was going to come out that wasn't Patrick Mahomes, we were waiting to put the crown on Josh Allen. But lo and
hmm
behold, here come Drake May and the Patriots, right? So it's just a crazy
Well,
story.
that got me thinking. Speaking of unlikely quarterbacks, I had a question for Jack about the Seahawks quarterback, who is also, I think, equally as unlikely in the spot as Drake May is. I mean, who thought that Sam Darnold, the guy that was seeing ghosts,
Yeah, yeah,
over in New
yeah.
England, would be here in the Super Bowl leading one of the best teams in the league? So, Jack, I want to know, how do you think Sam Darnold is going to beat the Patriots defense in this game? And what does he need to do to overcome all the challenges that the Patriots defense is going to throw at him?
So that's a great question, David. So I think with Rashard Sneed, he's probably not going to play in this game on Sunday. That would probably mean if if he's not a go on Sunday, then that could mean which can definitely not help us because it would be
We're talking about Raheem Shaheed.
yes,
Why would he not play? He's playing.
because he got a torn ACL.
No, no, no. You're thinking of Charbonnet.
Yeah, yeah,
I
Charbonnet,
think
and
Raheem Shaheed's a go. Charbonnet's out. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So without Charbonnet, that's going to be a huge. I wouldn't say a huge loss, but a slightly huge loss that they would really miss him
Yeah, but
as
he's
a leader on
he's a
this
running
team.
back. But like
But
Darnold
but
though, like
but Sam
he's been
Darnold,
key, right?
I mean, look, when he was with the Vikings, his team finished with 14-3 wins, and
Same record as this season. The Seahawks had
yes,
yeah back to
exactly,
back back
and
to back
so
14 win
this
seasons.
would be the biggest game in Sam Darnold's career. In order for him to
Mm-hmm.
challenge against the Seattle defense. Now I will point out that having in the biggest game in the biggest moment, where in recent Super Bowl history, where you have a big lead, and we've seen this before, and and when the Falcons had the 28-3 lead in the Super Bowl, and they
Why are you bringing
they
that
pretty
up?
much wiped it up. But I'm just trying to give you an example of one. I'm
What does
just
that have
trying
to
give
do
you an
with
idea
Sam
of.
Darnold?
It has nothing to do with Sam Darnold. It just has
It's because
something to
I'm
do.
here.
It just has something to do with how long the Super Bowl halftime shows are, and the reason
It's
why,
true.
and the reason why they lost the game is because Bill Belichick just showed no quit at halftime in the locker room making the speech, made a huge adjustment, and
Mm-hmm.
and that was really one of the biggest keys in that Super Bowl of how they came back to life, and that was all said and done. But anyway, back to Sam Darnold for a second here.
Please.
That I think if Sam Darnold was to have a great game and beat this Patriots pass rush defense, a great defensive team that they're going up against, that AJ Barner and Jackson Smith-Njigba has got to make some great one-handed catches, and Mike McDonald just has got to
That's
get
part of
his
the game plan. One-handed
exactly
catches.
Yep. Has to
and
be
just
one-handed.
yes and yes exactly and Cooper Kupp and Kevin Walker and all those leaders on the Seattle offense has got to step it up and just take one play at a time and just do everything right and just don't punt, just score on every drive and possession. And if you do all that, then the Seahawks have a chance. But if they don't, and the Patriots make a big play on defense, whether let's say if it's like a third and long or second down or fourth down, like outside of field goal range of fourth down, where a perfect example of that would be Devontae Tower just taking the Falcons out of the field goal range in Super Bowl 51. Well,
Are you still talking about this game? I mean,
no. But I'm giving you a example
no, I know. I'm teasing.
of that game plan for Seahawks because Kirk Kubiak, as we all know, is going to be expecting the Las Vegas Clint Kubiak. Yes, sorry. He will be accepting the Las Vegas Raiders job after the season to team up with Fernando Mendoza. But really, the Seahawks, in my opinion, just cannot just don't make too many mistakes and just don't take too many silly penalties. And
Yeah.
if you just do all that, then I think the Seahawks will have a chance in this game.
Yeah, I think, Mike, let me ask you this. I think Jackson mentioned it. Given the fact that Seahawks are favored in this game, is it a case of Seattle playing mistake-free football and that should put them over the edge? New England's the one that has to go out there and maybe, get a turnover, generate something, right?
Yeah, I mean the Seahawks they keep not having any turnovers. I mean they're going to the other point, and Jackson was talking about scoring on every time they get the ball. There's an article in the New York Times today talking about take the points, and it was talking about all the teams trying fourth down, going for it on fourth down, particularly in the red zone, as opposed to kicking a field goal, taking the points. And Mike McDonald has a tendency to take the points.
Yeah, I think
the logic is, I mean, the math works out that you're better off actually taking the points because you're going to inside the 35, you're 97% of the time you're going to kick the field goal. But if you go for it on fourth down, you might make it 50% of the time. Mm-hmm. So the odds are the team that adheres to take the points is going to win. And that end up may be the key in a close game.
Yeah, I mean, we saw in the NFC Championship game early on, Sean McVay was pretty aggressive on fourth down. Mm-hmm. I think in the Seattle red zone, they ended up not converting a fourth down. And
the Broncos didn't convert last week
exactly
in the second quarter.
Exactly. And obviously
on the fourth down,
the weather ended up playing a big factor in that. But if they had that field goal, the game ended up being 13-10, right? So that could have been a huge factor, obviously. So I think it's gonna be I think you're right. It's interesting that McDonald and Vrabel, kind of that chess match between them in terms of how aggressive do I be, how conservative do I be. But I do think it's not a controversial to say Seattle has the better team. They're obviously favored for a reason. So, I think from a game planning perspective, it wouldn't shock me to see New England be a bit more aggressive, given the fact that they're the underdogs in this
Mhm.
scenario. They respect the Seattle defense. If they get in a good position on a fourth and short, wouldn't
Yeah.
shock me if they end up going for it, right?
Yeah. Well, I think the Patriots had an added advantage because they can play loose.
There's not as much
There's
pressure
not as much
expectation on
as
them, right?
yeah, not as much
Oh yeah.
expectation, so they can play loose.
House money,
Hmm.
as they say, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
Is that how you feel, David? Like it's sort of if you win, it's amazing. We won the Super Bowl. If you lose, you say, not the end of the world. We had a young team. We'll be back here soon, right?
Yeah, I think it's a win of a season, no matter what happens. Um, yeah, I mean, you know, for this to uh, for this to be what they do at their first crack at it, I mean, you can't be mad at that. So
Well, I think, Jackson, we should get to a couple of picks and predictions here. Maybe we should start with David as our special guest. I have a feeling where he's going to lean, but go ahead, give us your prediction. Who will win the ball game, and give us a score as well, man.
sure, yeah. I mean, obviously, I'm going to go with the Pats. I do think it's going to be lower scoring than people think. I mean, I guess maybe people are predicting that it's two great defenses, but I'm going to go 17-13 Pats.
Okay, so kind of like low scoring defensive battle. You think
Yeah.
that New England defense is going to be a big factor. So would there be like a defensive player winning MVP possibly there, or you think it'll still be May maybe?
No, I think it would probably be May. I could see him getting a late crucial touchdown throw, you
Yeah.
know, maybe late in the fourth. He kind of seems to do that. It seems to be pretty good in the big moments. He had that, uh, first down conversion to end the game in the AFC championship. So
Oh, yeah, the run, right?
yeah,
Yeah. Or
right,
like the run to convert the first down as well towards the end of the
exactly.
snow.
And
Yeah.
he always kind of is the spark for the team to get going. He has a really nice throw, a nice touchdown pass. So yeah, I could see him doing that.
And one for the betters out there, maybe go for the over on Drake May rushing yards on Sunday. Yeah, yay or nay?
I like that. Yeah, I like the over on rushing yards, even passing touchdowns. I mean, I know I just said the score would be 17, but I also could be wrong. So yeah, I think Drake May will step up, but I do like the rushing more too because of because of the shoulder.
I personally like Drake May over on the rushing, given he kind of is that third down, 3rd and 5, nip out for a little first down. That's kind of seems to be their go-to. So I like that one as well. But okay,
Absolutely.
all right. So David's on the Patriots in a defensive slugfest. Not surprised in my opinion. I personally think if the Patriots win this game, it's going to be in a defensive battle. So no shock there. Blake BL Lineberger, man, can we jump to you for your game prediction? What you think will happen? Winner, score, keys to the game, all that kind of stuff, man.
Jackson, Blake, Mike, special guest. We got a house divided, guys. I got Charlotte roots. If I choose against the Patriots, I'm just shaming the city I live in right now. However, if I choose against the Seahawks, I'm shaming Marcus Burley. So I've been riding the Seahawks this whole season, the whole playoffs. Jackson, I love Drake May. What a good guy. I've got to ride the Seahawks a little longer. They good friends of you guys. Blake, your hat. I know you're unbiased, even though you have the hat on. Jackson, I know you're unbiased, even though the background is there. I'm going to ride the Seahawks, guys. I've been to Seattle. I've seen the fish get thrown back and forth at Pike Place. Seattle wins the game. I think it's going to be a. I think we're going to have a little bit of a battle as well. A battle as well. Yeah. I think it's going to be a low scoring game as well. I'm going to go 21-17
21-17. Okay. Okay.
Seattle Seahawks.
So I think in that scenario, New England would cover the spread there because Seattle is 4.5 point favorite. So if you think it's going to be a tight game, obviously I think you would bet on the Patriots, given
I
that
think
that
Drake May's going to feel the pressure his brother felt at Chapel Hill in the basketball team. He's just going to fumble under the pressure the first time in the Super Bowl. Yeah,
Yeah, fair
yeah,
enough, fair enough. I think we've seen
yeah.
this before, right, with young quarterbacks. I mean, Mike mentioned Dan Marino being the youngest quarterback to ever start. Like, I just watched a documentary on John Elway, for example, and he lost a couple of Super Bowls kind of early in his career, didn't he? So, it's I think Mahomes might be the exception in terms of like young players going to Super Bowl, winning the Super Bowl. It's not very common, and if it is, it's sort of an all-time great. And who knows, maybe Drake May will be an all-time great, and he'll win this game, and then he'll be the next Tom Brady. I mean, uh, that's what you're hoping for, I'm sure, David. Right?
You
Yeah,
never know. Yeah.
Drake Brady over here for sure. But okay, Mike, what is your prediction for this game? Give it
All
to us
right.
straight, man.
Yeah. So I am a big Drake May fan. I remember when we had our mock draft, I had and the Commanders had the second pick. I picked Drake May instead of um, Jaden Daniels, just because
That's pretty
Drake.
cool, Mike. That's a
Wait,
good
wait.
memory.
So
That's pretty
before
cool.
you start, you would swap Jaden Daniels for Drake May right now on the Commanders
Ooh,
quarterback?
Yes,
You would. Okay.
wow.
I would, and it's no
No
diss
slay on Daniels.
on Daniels.
Yeah, yeah.
May is just bigger,
I can't argue with that.
and I think you need to have a big quarterback in this league. You can't have the smaller agile quarterbacks in this because they get hurt. You need a big guy. But that said, um, I'm going to go with the best defense in the league. Defense wins champions, and I'm gonna go with the Seahawks. Um, it's going to be a slugfest, but Seahawks 24, Patriots 17.
24-17. Okay. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, I think I'm pretty similar to you, Mike. I think this game is going to be a bit more scrappy than most people think. I think probably 4.5 point favorite for Seattle. That's about right, I would say. Two teams have the same record, one seed versus a two seed. Not the most, ridiculous spread, but obviously I think people are taking into account New England lighter schedule. That's not a crazy thing to say. And then obviously beating Jared Stidham in the snow. Um, I think the win against Houston is some slight conditions. TJ Stroud was basically turned the ball over for fun in that game, wasn't he? So it'll be interesting to see how they match up against this truly elite Seattle defense. I personally just think it's going to be a bit too much too early for Drake May and the Patriots. I love Mike Vrabel. I think he's a great coach. And if I had to pick an over under on point 0.5 Super Bowls for Mike Vrabel in Seattle, I go over. I think Mike Vrabel and Drake May will win the Super Bowl, but I don't it's a bit too early for them this year. And I think the Seattle defense is a bit too overwhelming. And yeah, I mean, I have to say, we mentioned Sam Darnold a little bit. We've talked about kind of the great story of him, coming off of those rough years for the New York Jets. Wouldn't be the first person to have a couple of rough years for the Jets, then move on to greener pastures, wouldn't he? So I think he's a great comeback story. Obviously, last year we should mention as well. Um, I'm picking Seattle to win this game, and obviously they traded for Sam Darnold coming off of a 14-win season for Minnesota. So I mean, I have a friend who's a Vikings fan, and he was optimistic about the Vikings and JJ McCarthy getting rid of Darnold. But you have to say, if Seattle goes on to win this game, it has to be one of the best transactions in NFL history. Bringing in a quarterback who, I mean, to be fair, he just won 14 games, but he wasn't exactly like, the belle of the ball in terms of like everyone dying to sign Sam Darnold. But Seattle saw the vision, obviously, and he's led them to this point, and they have a great defense, but you can't just win a championship off of a great defense and, a bad quarterback, right? So Sam Darnold has played his part, obviously, and I think he'll do the same on Sunday. I don't think it'll be like a crazy blowout game. I'm going to go for 27-13. So I think it'll be like a two-score game. I think Seattle might get one late to kind of pull away towards the end. But I've got Seattle's Sam Darnold Super Bowl MVP. I think this is going to be Darnold's crowning moment. And I think it's a good story as well, Jackson. I think in terms of somebody that came into the league with high expectations, after a couple of years they flame out. And I think that's kind of something that we see a lot, right? Is like a quarterback, top 5, top 10 quarterback, high expectations. People think he's gonna be great, but then he goes to a bad situation for the Jets. And all you Jets fans out there know what I'm talking about. Like it's just kind of the quarterback cemetery, isn't it? Or I mean, the player cemetery. I mean, it's hard to succeed in the wrong situation, right? So, I think it's a great story for somebody drafted in the wrong situation, bouncing around a few different teams, finding his spot, finding his moment. And so I think this will be Darnold's moment. And so I'm going with Seattle. Jackson, over to you. The floor is yours, man.
Well, this is going to be a great matchup. I expect this one to be a high-scoring game. You have two great scoring defenses and offenses in this one with some great playmakers and some great two rookie quarterbacks going up, as I mentioned earlier in the show, and great matchup and some great and some great storylines. This one between seafood, Starbucks coffee, and Dunkin' Donuts. But with that being said,
so we got Dunkin' versus Starbucks. We got seafood versus seafood, right? I mean, this is just
yeah,
lobster versus fish.
lobster versus Seattle fish out in out in the Pier Market 32 where they do the flying fish. But anyway, with that being said, two great teams. I expect this one to be a very close game. So that being said, for me, I'm going to go the opposite. I'm going to go 28-24 Seahawks in the final play of the game.
wow.
Unlike what Mike about in the Patriots did in the last one, I think the Seahawks will get it right, and
pass to
I could be wrong, but I think the Seahawks will get it done this time around, and they will get revenge, and I think they'll do it on the same situation on the defense and for the Seahawks and the last play of the game for the Patriots, they'll do the opposite, and I think the Seahawks will win it 28-24.
Wait, so are you saying the Seahawks are going to intercept the Patriots in the last play of the game to win the game, the opposite of the Patriots? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Wow, so you're predicting the exact opposite. Wow, that's a crazy take. I don't know.
That's a great prediction, Jack.
I mean,
as much as I wouldn't like it to happen, but
okay. Wow.
I mean, it's very bold, David. That's what I'm here for.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so keep an eye out for the game to end on a Seattle interception of Drake May in the the red zone. Well, I mean that would be lightning striking twice in the same place, wouldn't it? I mean that'd be exceptional. But so Jackson, you have Seattle. Who do you think is going to be the Super Bowl MVP? And like, what do you think is going to be the reason? Give me the reason why you're picking Seattle. Why are they going to win this ball game?
I think they're going to do it on a few phases and few things. They're going to do it on defense. They're going to rely on the rely the ball more on Cooper Kupp, and I think Cooper Kupp is going to win NFL Super Bowl MVP. He did it before with the Rams.
You've got Cooper Kupp to win Super Bowl MVP?
I do. He's done it.
You better place a wager on that.
Rams.
Those odds are not.
Yeah, he's won one with the Rams, and he could win one with the division rival Seahawks, the team that he traded to. Once they got him in free agency a few years ago, and so I think for me, Sam Darnold will win. Cooper Kupp will win most valuable player.
I mean, I'm seeing plus 9,000 odds on that right now. So you better put a couple of bucks down on that, my friend.
Well, I'm already working on it right now.
Okay.
And I think the wide receiver Cooper Kupp. Think about it. He is a.
What website you using, Jack? Is that a DraftKings plug?
Yeah. Parlay or
DraftKings
or ESPN Bet, one of those websites there.
Hey,
but
listen, we're open to the DraftKings sponsorship, so please,
that's correct.
Come aboard.
Correct. No free plugs, Jack. No free plugs.
But really, I say he wins MVP because, for a few reasons why I like Cooper Kupp, because he played his college ball at Eastern Washington, and he was born in the home state and in the Pacific Northwest of his home state of Washington. So you gotta love Cooper Kupp. He's a very great family man and very humble. Great comes with a family, great guy to be around, and won a Super Bowl already. Has a chance to earn another ring with another NFC West team. So he's entered in the third round pick in the draft, but there's really lots to like. But as for Cooper Kupp is a very likable guy and very nice guy to be around. I mean, what's there not to like? I mean, he's he is a great guy to be around, and
Yeah, fair enough.
and
Can't argue with that.
and so I think
So
and so
you
and
so
so and so I
Seattle
think
Cooper Cup MVP. That's your pick then, huh?
yes.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. Well, it sounds like we're heavy on Seattle here, David. I mean, I'm sorry to
Yeah.
say, I think you're the lone Patriots voice, but I mean, to be fair, it
Hey,
will look you make you look very wise if the result is different, right?
it kind of feels like the first Super Bowl that we won against the Rams, you know? No one had us then either. So,
Well,
it's nothing that we're not used to.
could be a case of history repeating itself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, fair enough, fair enough. Oh, I think we got a really exciting matchup here. I think you know, I personally think this is going to be a really exciting Super Bowl, mainly for the reasons of having some fresh teams, some fresh faces in it as well. I think we should mention, um, we had like the Chiefs in a lot of Super Bowls, Eagles, 49ers. I think having some new teams is going to be, a big impact on this game.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the two quarterbacks have never been here before. Both teams are relatively new to this stage. Um, and yeah, I guess the Patriots fans will be familiar in this stage, but obviously Vrabel and May, and then McDonald and Darnold on the other side. It'll be curious to see how they handle sort of the bright lights. But obviously, you got some people from the Patriots organizations that have been there and done that. McDaniel's offensive coordinator, obviously the owner Robert Kraft. He's been there and done that. So yeah, it should be a really interesting game. David, we should ask you before you hop off as well, just a bit of Patriots, scuttlebutt. Obviously, we saw Tom Brady taking a bit of flack for not picking the Patriots to win the Super Bowl, and then also I'll ask you as well. We saw Belichick and Kraft not making the Hall of Fame, so it's been an interesting week for some of these Patriots legends leading up to the Super Bowl. Kind of how is that sitting with you as we're heading up to the big game here this weekend, man?
It's fine. It's fine. To be honest, Tom Brady's gotten weirder and weirder ever since he left the Patriots, ever since he left the league. We don't really need the support. And I mean, Belichick is, gotten about 100 times as weirder than Brady. So, yeah, I think wasn't surprising that him and Kraft didn't get into the Hall of Fame. I don't think it means they're not going to get in, but that wasn't a huge shock to me. And yeah, I think Brady hasn't really been associated super like a lot with the Patriots for a while now, with his ownership with the Raiders and
More of a
everything.
Raiders guy
So,
now, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
so it's not really a surprise to me to see him pick against us, and we don't really need his support, is my take on it.
Jackson, were you surprised to see that? Brady's, I mean, he's kind of staying out of it. Like, I think I saw a video of him being like, this is going to be a great game, two great teams. Like, he didn't really give a pick one way or the other, right?
As a matter of fact, I saw a clip of that on this podcast that he was on, and he just said it's going to be a great game, and
Hmm.
and
I mean, I
and
could say that, that's not a good
he
take.
and he just said
Yeah.
but all that he said is that the Patriots way and dynasty is back and are about to earn to become to about to be back in the third dynasty and all that stuff. And I just think that Tom Brady just has no idea what he's talking about. And I mean, it's just very confusing and for anyone who's in sports talking listeners and all that stuff. But I don't know. I mean, it's just
Jack, what about
he's
what about Belichick and not making the Hall of Fame? That was obviously a big talking point. And maybe as we see the Patriots move on here to their new era, possibly that older era is being a little bit disrespected here with Belichick. I know you wanted to discuss that, Jack. So what was your reaction to Belichick missing out on the Hall of Fame?
uh it was a it was a complete it was just a complete stunner, and I'm a bit surprised. And
Yeah.
the NFL voters, the Belichick votes just weren't really enough. You can argue that Spygate and Deflategate might have played a factor on it, and I think that the voters the NFL, whoever's in charge of the NFL voters and the NFLPA are not getting a lot of respect from what they're getting for Belichick and for Kraft for matter, because not everybody gets into the Hall of Fame. So as it turns out, Bill Belichick and Kraft turns out the people not getting elected as of this year. Now it all could change next year, but they did not get elected this year. So I think, to me, it's just it's terrible. It's definitely devastating for anyone listening up in Sports Talk Radio up in Boston and the New England area. But I just think the fans deserve better, and the team itself. And
the fans know, they know what the deal is.
Right.
I think it's more of a Hall of Fame thing. Mike, were you surprised that Belichick got snubbed?
No, not at all. I mean, look who's voting for it. It's the sports writers.
Is it similar to the Baseball Hall of Fame where they leave out the steroids
Belichick
guy, right?
was always, not the most friendly to some of the press.
Controversial. Yeah.
He was always kind of controversial. And so it doesn't surprise me. I think he will get in.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they just decided, no, there's no way he's getting in on the very first ballot.
Yeah.
Mike, you being the baseball guy, you can relate to this. Pete Rose did not get the Hall of Fame because of steroids, and
Pete Rose didn't get in because he
was betting the game of baseball. Yeah, and
because
so
of gambling.
Belichick did not.
Well,
do
Barry
steroids
Bonds
or
didn't
bet
get in because of steroids. So I totally get the theory on this, even though it's a different sport. But you get the idea,
Sure.
And that's really how it all can play a factor and can really damage part of your legacy.
There's a lot of prestige
sports.
getting in on the very first ballot, and I think that was the snub that Belichick got. I think he'll get in next year or the year after. I think he's going to be a shoo-in to get in the Hall of Fame. The sports writers just did not want him to come in on this very first ballot, and
that's just sports writers being sports writers.
That's just yeah. So I wasn't surprised.
That's the way it goes. All right. Well, I think we're just about out of time here on Good Guy Sports. I think we've given some big Super Bowl predictions. Obviously, a lot to look forward to on Sunday. This is a massive game between two great teams. I think it's going to be a great game, honestly. I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, some fresh blood, some new coaches, some new quarterbacks, all of that. So I think on behalf of Good Guy Sports, I think we're all looking forward to a big game. So David, thank you for coming on to us, bringing that Boston representation.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Of course, happy to have you back. B.O. Lineberger, Mike Roby, Jackson Gerke.
Hey.
On behalf of Good Guy Sports, enjoy the game, everyone.
And we'll talk soon about that 13-year-old Puerto Rico that just signed with the Yankees for what, $2 to $4 million? 13-year-old.
Hey, we'll get to the baseball season soon. Soon enough.
Baseball season starts next week.
Pitchers and catchers reporting soon. Let's get through one game at a time, fellas.
There we go.
Thanks, everyone.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Bye. See you guys.